everyone, and welcome back to Wonder of Faith. As always, I'm Anthony Bush, and I have returned. Hello. It's been quite a while since I've done a video, but I am back at it now. I was away for a few weeks. I was helping out with a program for academically efficient children, high schoolers. It's a camp for those who do well on standardized tests, and we have classes. I did a class on philosophy. I was a teacher's assistant for it, and I had a blast. And I've learned a few things from that experience, and I wish to share that now. I'm going to call it the over-the-moon principle. That's the term I'm going to use to talk about this idea of mine. So whenever I'm faced with a challenge, whenever there is something that I must do, whether it's academic, whether it has to do with friends or whatnot, I usually try to figure out a plan. I try to come up with a way to tackle that which I have to do. And so this is kind of one of those plans, and I'm sharing it with you so that in case you are going through something, you too can maybe use this plan to your benefit. So the over-the-moon principle is this. I love the moon as a symbol. It's always been very near and dear to my heart. The moon symbolizes both wisdom and is an analogy for Mary. It's been said that she reflects the light of God in her presence just as the moon does that to the sun's light. So I have tried to become holier and do the same as she did, to reflect God in my action, in my words, in my being. And so the over-the-moon principle is this. Too often when we're faced with a challenge, we hide behind the moon. We put up fronts. We try to fix the situation by being strong or by being stern, because we're scared to really show that which we actually are. If we're afraid, if we're struggling with something, because we don't want people to see that. And so we hide behind the moon. But over the moon principle, I think, is a better way. And that's to jump over the moon and come in front of it. Don't hide, but show that which you are. And that is a strength in and of itself, to be able to truly show what you feel, what you think, and not be afraid to show those you care about that. And so if we're taking a test, for instance, and let's say it's a very important test, instead of going in there saying, I'm going to put on a face, I'm going to just get through it and not show anyone I'm afraid, no one wants to see that. I think it's not about being cut off. It's about showing that you are afraid. It's okay to be afraid of what you have to do, but that fear shouldn't stop you from doing it. That's the part that matters. We don't let fear control our actions. Instead, we let fear be felt, comprehended, and then we acknowledge that though we are afraid, we still have to do it. We owe it to ourselves to take the test and do the best we can. Same thing with friends, I say, and even romantic partners, that when we are in a struggle, a conflict, it's not just about putting on a brave face, because in a way it's lying to them. We may be feeling something, but we don't want to show it, so we put on kind of the stern, maybe cold facade. And when we do that, we may save ourselves for the moment, we defend ourselves, but we, in the process, fail to communicate that which we are feeling, and that's which we are thinking. And that in the long run can damage the relationship. And so it's better not to put on a brave face with your friends and family. It's not just about being strong or appearing strong, because it's the appearance that you want to put up. You're not really feeling strength, but you are showing that you are, because you want them to think that you are strong. But why should they think you're strong if you really aren't? To me, the strength isn't in the appearance, it is in the action. So to be strong is to show that which you are feeling. The strength is to be able to say, I am hurting. I need help. That is the real strength. Too many people these days hide behind the facade, because they say, if I tell anyone that I feel weakness, that I'm upset, that I have troubles, then they're going to think less of me. I need to show them that I'm not that way, that I can be inhumanly strong. And where does that lead? It leads to struggle. It leads to isolation. And it leads to damage, because if you keep hiding away that aspect of yourself, if you keep putting on a front or acting, you will eventually drive yourself to the last point, to the end of your patience. And then everything topples. We can't allow that to happen. We have to be kind to ourselves. And to do that is to share with those you can trust that which you are going through. They deserve to know, because if they care about you, they should want to hear it anyway. They shouldn't be worried about you not being strong enough or being stern. Instead, they hear you, they comprehend, and they stay with you. It's not about them trying to fix or trying to give you solutions. It's about them simply being in the moment with you, hearing what you have to say, and understanding it. That in and of itself can provide enough to be strong and to continue. But notice that it's about trust, right? To trust others in the process. To jump over the moon, we need someone to jump over it for. We have to have someone who's rooting for us, who's waiting for us to be actual with them. And then we do it, And this is different from a professional setting, right? So it doesn't mean we're going to go to work and do the same thing. But this is about how we treat those we care about. To jump over the moon, to take that step and be honest. To be fully honest and move away from the facade is brave. It's something not everyone has been able to do. And they're hurting because of it, but they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to feel less alone, because the world tends toward loneliness. It's more about the appearance. It's about the success. It's about the money. And these things don't provide fulfillment because they are about material good and not personal good. And so we have to be able to trust those around us. That's what friendship is. Friendship is the state of trust between two people that is mutual, that is strong, and that is unconditional. And from there, we move into an ability to be honest with the other. It doesn't take, it takes a while. It's not just immediate. But if we are courageous enough, we too can jump over the moon. We can be an example for others. We can admit our mistakes. We can say that we're not truly who we're meant to be yet, but we are moving toward that. It's all in the ability to accept that. But acceptance does not mean that we settle for. To accept our faults does not mean we settle with them forever. It means that we know where we are now, but we are willing to move to a better place for ourselves and for everyone around us. That's the process. That is what life asks of us. That is what God asks of us. Not that we be a perfectionistic, tightly wound basket case, right? Or that we just give it all away and don't give a care and just be our imperfect self. But it's in the middle ground. It's seeing where we are now. Maybe we're not ready to jump over the moon. Maybe we're stuck on the dark side of the moon because no one's ever shown us how to move to the other side. And it takes time, it takes patience, it takes the ability to let people in. And slowly but surely we can jump over the moon. It may be a slow process, but eventually we come to a point where we realize I am cared for by this person. That there is nothing that I can do that will make them hate me, because they realize I have faults as well. And when that point finally comes, then the friendship can thrive because it's built upon that which is unbreakable. But we have to start somewhere, right? We have to first put in the trust in others, because we have to be able to do the same for them. We have to trust them and they have to trust us, and we have to be supportive of them. We have to know their faults, know their problems, and maybe be supportive and help them to see how they can better them. But that doesn't mean we're trying to, hammer them down and fix them all the time. It's a matter of give and take, of enjoying the presence of the other, dedicating oneself to them, being responsible for them, putting in effort. They have to see the effort that you're putting in to know that you truly want to be friends with them. That friendship isn't just a word, but that it is something that is being sought out vigorously by the other because it's worth it to them. And finally, the point comes when we can open the door to our soul and let others in. It's very scary. I know it's scary for me. It's something that I've thought a lot about because I struggle with that very problem. But the time finally comes when you realize that I'm hurting myself by not showing that which I actually am, by not showing that which I am concerned about. But when I do, finally, the hope is they'll appreciate that ability to be vulnerable. and that they will too feel comfortable doing the same. And then support is mutual. There's no more crippling loneliness, so to speak, because there is an ability to speak honestly with the other. And this doesn't require, marriage or whatnot. This happens with friendships. Friendships are important. I like to believe that without friendship, one can't really live fully because it requires that give and take that is mutual, but is not necessarily bound by anything else, biologically or whatnot. It is an act of will. It is an act of faith. It is an act of even grace, I'd say. And so that's why friendships, importantly enough, have to be rooted in faith, because that secures them even further, because the two move toward God and the good together. That's, to me, the strongest form of friendship. So if we really believe we're worth it, if we understand our value, then we should value ourselves enough to invest in others. And that means being there for them, trusting them, allowing them to do the same for us, so that we can jump over the moon together, to finally get to that point where trust is actual and not just a word anymore. So I ask you, think of the people in your life who you feel you can jump over the moon for, and then do it. Strive for that. Come to know happiness in friendship, in the relation. Come to know happiness in the troubles we have, to admit our fault, to admit that maybe we can't do this by ourselves. But if we are faithful enough, if we are trusting enough, we can help others and ask them to help us with our problems. As always, God be with you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You can leave comments. You can ask me questions, as always. And may you find final victory in Christ. God be with you.